Hello and welcome to this week's Wednesday Waffle. Trying something a little different this week. We'll see how it works. I'm going to talk to you about this week's Donda, the minor repairs ongoing to Desmond, the plan, and a tale of cots. This week's Donda was local. Great little place, not far from the house. Orderkish for the earth pillars. It was a great relaxing weekend with a little bit of walking. In fact, we probably walked as far as we drove. Some minor repairs required to Desmond, nothing drastic. Table had come loose, unscrewed, so just tightening that up, and I put a bead of glue on it just to hold it, a bit of epoxy. It has a rough life, gets used a lot, and the tap had worked itself loose again, so that needed sorting out. Just done up and a little bit of Loctite to hold it in place. It'll no doubt need doing again in the future. The plan is coming along nicely. In fact, the only real thing that's needed for the plan is to pack up Desmond and execute it. Most people who we're going to meet have been told the rough dates and times, etc. But of course, because of the way we camp, then we can't tell you exactly where we're going to be till we get there and get parked up. So it's all in hand, and hopefully we'll have a great time. I'm sure we will with the people we meet. It's whether or not the rest of the plan goes to plan. Before we move on to the tale, a quick word about the videos that we've got out at the moment. Currently, we're in the middle of the Aaron series, and Monday's video was a photo diary for the first part of our time on the island. And on Friday, of course, we'll have the video part of that tale. Next week, the second part of our days on the island, in photos and again in the form of video. Don't know what Wednesday's Waffle is going to be about next week yet, because it's not that time yet. I'm still recording this one. We'll no doubt find out before it's time to waffle. And now, a tale of cuts. Deep and painful cuts. I have actually told this tale in part before, I believe, so it may not be news to some of you. It may be news to others. It was inspired by a couple of other channels who visited the site at Grinlow and also visited Buxton. Now, while they visited Grinlow and indeed Buxton, I bet you they didn't for the reasons I did. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Round about the time you're 40 in the military, one of the options you have is for the SNIP, the unkindest cut of all, you might say. And you can get it done. It doesn't cost anything, blah blah blah, elective surgery, etc. And at that stage I decided, yes, I would have said SNIP. I was assured that the stitches would dissolve, and while I had to take it easy for a couple of days with the heavy lifting, there'd be no other problems. Yeah, right. So, a week or so after, in fact it was less than a week after the operation, I was able to avoid digging the pit on a Caravan Club rally. Digging the pit was a pastime where you dug a big hole in the ground for emptying toilets. I haven't rallied for some years, but I suspect that's frowned upon these days. Yeah, okay. So I avoided digging the pit. It was the kids' rally, so the adults actually were supposed to help, but I'd been advised by the doctor not to. And anyway, the person who was helping us, or rather whose children were helping our lad run the rally, had his own method of digging pits, and let's just say never a more precisely dug square of pit would you have seen. We moved on from the rally. We were leaving the rally to go off on holiday with our caravan touring. Now, the stitches at this time were supposedly dissolving, not a sign of them. And as the week went on, moving from place to place, it was getting harder and harder to climb into the car. And we had a Range Rover at the time, and there was a lot of climbing in and out of involved, not just because of the height of the Range Rover. We were constantly stopping for fuel and LPG. Yes, it was a Range Rover. The V8 3.5 litre was not known for its ability to pass petrol stations. But the stitches refused to dissolve, and it was getting sore. Tender. It's a tender place. Anyway, one of our stops was to be Grin Low. This wasn't on the plan. Even back then, we didn't plan fully, but Grin Low had something useful. It was the only caravan site we knew of that actually had a bath rather than a shower. And we thought a good soak might solve the problem. Well, you know what thought, don't you? No solutions here. So after a day of soaking and with no time, we decided to go and seek professional advice. And this is where Buxton A&E comes in. Walked in, it's a small A&E, and I sheepishly went up to talk to the receptionist, explained my predicament, and they offered me a seat. And soon this nurse, with a great big grin on her face, came to see me. She helped me into the consulting room and even helped me up onto the chair, up onto the bench or whatever, you know, whatever you call that foldy bendy seat thing they have. And her words were like this: wow, we normally get sprains and twists and minor grazes off the school kids in the area. This is a first for us in a long time. Yeah, somebody was enjoying themselves. So, we parked up. I'd sheepishly and carefully clambered down from the vehicle and gone in. They'd agreed that they could do something for me, and indeed the cheerful nurse did something for me. Meanwhile, Lindsay had sat waiting in the car. She didn't think I'd be very long. And I wasn't, admittedly, I wasn't very long. I was in and out in no time at all. But she knew something had been resolved as I walked, no problem, out to the car, flung open the door and leapt into the seat. Blessed relief. Well, I don't know what you were expecting, but it was a great relief to me, I can tell you, and caused some amusement to Buxton A&E. Thank you for watching this so far, and hopefully I've only had to do one cut and the new trial for this week has worked. If not, this is the second time I've said this, and you're just seeing it as normal, and then you'll never know what I was trying. Bye for now. Thank you for watching Desmond Starters. We'll hope you'll join us again for more photos, waffle and video as we travel around Scotland. Bye for now.